Merry Christmas, everybody, and Tony here. And aside from looking at standalone holiday installments, whether they be animated or live action, I'll be taking a look at holiday specials from cartoons that I watched ever since I was a kid and still love to this very day. And what better way to start out than with Nickelodeon in the form of the two Rugrats holiday specials that I'll be talking about, The Santa Experience, and Babies in Toyland. Now, I have something to admit right here. I didn't start watching Rugrats until I was 7 years old in 1999. My first experience with the Rugrats came in the form of a PlayStation game called In Search of Reptar. And looking back at the game, it's a very simple game. It's very easy, and it managed to introduce me to the world of the Rugrats really well. And sure, the graphics of the game were quite meh, with the characters only expressing one facial expression, and that's it. But it was a very enjoyable experience. Now, with looking back at Rugrats, I have to say that the show had a lot of charm and heart to it, and something that not a lot of shows that I see today don't really have that. I mean, a show about talking babies in which they use their imagination to see the world around them is actually quite a concept, and one that is done really well to this very day. And especially when it comes to the stellar voice acting, you had the likes of Elizabeth Daily, Christine Cavanaugh, Cheryl Chase, Kath Soucie, Melanie Chartoff, and many, many, many other great voice actors and voice actresses that starred in this wonderful gem of a Nicktoon. Now, let's get on with the first Christmas special called The Santa Experience. Now, The Santa Experience has a very simple premise. Angelica has been very well known to be a huge brat throughout the course of the show, and usually manipulates babies into thinking that, oh, some things are very bad, some things are very good, and all of that. She basically manipulates them a lot. And, well, with this Christmas special, we kind of get to see that, well, what she's doing may not always be the best thing that she's doing, because it comes in the form of Grandpa Lou telling a story of what happens to bad kids during Christmas, in which he states that whenever kids are bad, they get a huge lump of coal from Santa. And Angelica proceeds to have a dream in which it's Christmas morning, and then she opens her presents and sees coal everywhere. And I'm sure that if I would have been a lot younger seeing this, probably about 4 or 5, I probably would have been terrified. But looking back at it, it's it's just okay, really. I mean, it really shows just how Angelica really felt in this moment and how she has to change because, well, this all started with Angelica trading Phil's Reptar doll for crayons, and then Lil's coloring book for a Reptar helmet. So yeah, even though that premise does seem kind of ridiculous, I think it's I think it pretty much proves a point. And that scene where Angelica says that she's bad, I almost thought that it was quite hammy and over the top, but I could let that slide. And then we get to the families, Pickles, DeVille's, and Finster's going to a cabin in the mountains to spend Christmas. And, well, while they're there, Drew tries to call the Santa Experience to, like, show Angelica her presents and all that and give it to her. And that is when the real Santa Claus, or what we presume is the real Santa Claus, comes in and gives the kids their presents. And let me just tell you that the ending is both heartwarming and quite hilarious. So I do recommend checking it out. And now we get to Babies in Toyland. Now, Babies in Toyland also has a very simple premise, but what they do with this premise is taken up to 11, and they kind of make it quite epic and a lot more exciting than that of the first one. Now, it all starts with the Finsters, Pickles, and DeVilles, and also that of Grandpa Lou and Grandma Lulu going to a Christmas themed theme park in which Stu has built the animatronics to the Nutcracker Prince, his soldiers, and the Mouse King and his soldiers, the nativity scene, and they also have like a cabin there in which the parents take a look and the babies like get themselves into a lot of hijinks, especially with Angelica discovering the workshop of Santa. And let me just say that everything about this is well done. With the babies like getting themselves involved in the battle between the Nutcracker Prince and his soldiers to against the Mouse King, and the music of the Nutcracker being played, I have to say it has a certain fondness to it. And then when they visited the nativity scene, I thought it was just well done, and it was just really heartwarming. And especially when Angelica visited Santa's workshop, in which the elf tells her that she has to change her ways and in the form of a song, which I thought was just really well done. Yes, the premise can be quite repetitive, but I thought this was well done. And if I were to choose between the Santa Experience and um, Babies in Toyland, I have to go with Babies in Toyland because as much as I love the Santa Experience, I have to say that Babies in Toyland managed to managed to really put the babies in something a little bit more exciting than any other Christmas special would do to them. So yes, I still recommend Babies in Toyland for its like more exciting atmosphere and that it's a lot of fun to watch. I still recommend both Christmas specials, but I ultimately go with Babies in Toyland. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to tune in later, in which I take a look at a Nickelodeon special that means so much to me and has probably been number one in a lot of reviewers' top 10 or top something best animated Christmas specials. So, until then, see you later, everybody.